We're about to conclude round 6 of the Euroformula Open Championship in 2023 from the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, 5.793 kilometers light in weight, 16 laps of this beautiful Italian circuit, or 30 minutes, whichever one comes first. This is the third and final race of the weekend for these youngsters in this round of the championship. It's the second of our top 6 reverse grid races. This one is the results of qualifying reversed, and that has put the Italian stallion Francesco Simonazzi on reverse grid pole for his home race and his team's home race at BVM Racing as well. And if this morning's race was anything to go by, then we are in for a treat. It may not be the biggest field on the grid, but they certainly know how to race, and they certainly proved that this morning. My name is Chris Stevens. Alongside me for the last time this weekend, it's George Morgan. George, I'm thoroughly looking forward to this one because this morning's race was pretty much chaos.
It was very chaotic, and appearance of safety cars. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to Monza, and certainly given the fact that we have a very, very high-octane grid in front of us, we did, of course, see and witness Charlie Birds taking his first win of the season in truly sensational style, really, and not just off the back of his own performance, but also everything else that happened on track. We saw cars with punctures, we had cars with broken front wings, we had cars that, well, pretty much went and yeeted into the back of others heading through towards turns 1 and 2. Noleon, unfortunately, suffering off the back of that and ending up dropping through the field, and still has to lie in wait to make it 2 wins in this race weekend. The last driver to achieve such things, Lucas Dunner, back in 2020, when he would go on to take the race win in race 2 and race 3. He is still, though, at the very top of the championship and looking to consolidate that fact. Cian Shields and Bryce Aaron also in behind too. But we're seeing some performances come through from the young, well, for the newcomers to the series, obviously Joshua Dufek and Charlie Wirtz, not to mention Levente Ravesh, who brought himself into P3 in that race earlier on today. There's a big chance that maybe they can again feature this time around too.
Yeah, this morning's race was a bit more of a race of survival, with plenty of the contenders taking themselves out of the equation. Of course, Bryce Aaron and Noel Leon were pretty much eradicated from the order after they came together in their super intense fight. And then both Cian Shields, well, Cian Shields was DNF'd after being hit by Josh Dufek. Dufek was able to continue with a damaged front wing, which he dragged to second place. He's finished second in both races so far this weekend, both he and Wirtz only in their second round of this championship, having joined us from the Red Bull Ring a couple of weeks ago, looking to increase their experience not only in a Dallara chassis but also give themselves some prospects as they look to move up the single-seater racing ladder. Plenty of drivers on this grid eyeing a move up to the FIA Formula 3 Championship for 2024. And a couple of those drivers have already appeared on that grid. Francesco Simonazzi, of course, appeared for a couple of rounds during our summer break. And Josh Dufek was at the final round at Monza as well, both looking to secure full-time seats for next year. And this morning's race winner, Charlie Wirtz, for the first time in the Euroformula Open, adding to the various series that he has won in, including Italian F4, and the F4 UAE Championship, and of course the Formula Regional Oceania. The last 2 he was champion in, of course, as well. So for these guys, it's a big weekend. We're coming up to the tail end of the championship with a round of Mugello next weekend, and of course the season finale in Barcelona towards the end of October. This is Francesco Simonazzi, who starts on reverse grid pole for this one, the signature hand heart there, and a wave to the camera. It's a big weekend for him.
It is massive home race, and obviously wants to capitalize. And I did speak to him prior. He said, I'm gonna try and claim everything I can, seeing as I'm starting on the front row of the grid and on pole. Cian Shields, though, will join him and make his life a little bit tricky. Of course, he sustained the wing damage in the race earlier on this morning, and unfortunately was hampered by that fact. He was challenging for the race win. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Charlie Wirtz managing to take full advantage of his broken wing and take victory. Bryce Aaron as well, marking his return, 3rd place on the grid. The man from the States, obviously looking to try and claim more points. Remember, he was P2 in the championship for a good while until Cian Shields came knocking on the door after Red Bull Ring, of course, claiming his first race win of the season. Bryce Aaron looking to loft himself further and further higher up. Charlie Wirtz victor from earlier on today. And I want to allude to as well, those drivers that are looking to get Formula 3 drives obviously we have such a plethora of top drivers that have won here at Monza here in this very championship, and Felipe Drugovich being one of them as part of the Aston Martin team as a reserve, but also Liam Lawson, who won it back in 2019 in race 2. Of course, since making his debut in Formula 1, 2 races in now with AlphaTauri, of course, competing this weekend in the Japanese Grand Prix. Joshua Dufek there in 5th as well, looking to get set off to join in this championship along with Charlie Wirtz for the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, and is looking to really sharpen up his form and give himself the best position possible to get himself an F3 seat.
Yeah, and of course the most recent graduates from this championship include our reigning champion Ollie Goethe on the Formula 3 grid. Christian Mansell is with him as well. And even just from this season as well, Josh Mason making the jump up to the Formula 2 Championship as well for the remaining rounds of the season. Great to see him there. Levente Ravesh, another driver coming over from the Formula Regional European Championship and making his debut this weekend. It's been a pretty hectic start to his Euroformula campaign, given the weather that we had yesterday. Pretty chaotic race as well, but this is yesterday's inclement weather that was certainly playing a part, as Noel Leon from pole position had to try and squeeze Josh Dufek to hang on to the lead. Had this big moment out of the second Lesmo as well that allowed Dufek to challenge him towards Ascari, but the young Mexican was able to hang on. Eventually the weather got so bad we had to red flag the race, and for Noel Leon he secured his 6th win of the season there. This morning's race, well, hold on to your hats because it was a belter. It was Kean Shields who led the way. Charlie Wirtz steamed into second place as Josh Dufek tried to get up the order. We saw more lead changes than we could possibly count. Charlie Wirtz ended up making his way into the lead as Dufek broke his front wing against Kean Shields in the closing stages of the race. For the first time, it was Charlie Wirtz victorious in the Euroformula Open in only his 2nd weekend. Josh Dufek had to settle for 2nd once again. This is what it's done to the championship standings. Noel Leon and Kean Shields didn't score points this morning, so the gap remains at 67 points. Francesco Simonazzi moves up to 3rd now, ahead of Bryce Aaron. Again, a non-point scorer in this morning's race. Charlie Wirtz and Josh Dufek now moving well inside the top 10 after their impressive performances in only a couple of rounds of this championship, and I'm expecting big things from them again. Third and final race of the weekend is about to get underway, and it will be the same number of points available as the previous 2 races. Here's how they'll line up. It's Francesco Simonazzi for BVM Racing, the Italian on pole position at Monza, ahead of Kean Shields, the Scotsman looking for revenge after this morning's disappointment. Bryce Aaron and Charlie Wirtz, this morning's race winner, line up on the 2nd row of the grid. Then Joshua Dufek, he's had 2 second places so far. He'll be looking to claim to the top step. Noel Leon, our race 1 winner from yesterday, the championship leader in 6th. Levente Ravesh, the debutant, lines up in 7th. We're about to get the formation lap underway. Yeah,
we certainly are here, Chris. Now all the cars out on track. And again, a familiar face in the paddock. Of course, Juju Noda here this weekend as part of the weekend's festivities here at Monza. Of course, she is still in this championship too, but obviously has been in amongst various different cars and looking to position herself for an opportunity in Formula 2 or Formula 3.
Yeah, she's driving the Formula Renault 3.5, the World Series car in the Boss GP here this weekend. And I can't lie, George, I have taken a peek at a few of the cars because they've got some really cool old GP2 cars and indeed V10 Formula 1 cars that we've rather enjoyed listening to so far this weekend. But we're going to enjoy these Spies-powered Dallara 320 chassis in the meantime as well. Res Fries, and we get underway for the formation lap for the 3rd and final race of the weekend. It will be 16 laps of this Monza circuit, or 30 minutes. That's the maximum time distance. We went down to time in race 1 because we had so many safety car interventions due to the inclement weather. But this morning's race, we got the full distance in, and what we saw in this morning's race was just a complete slipstreaming festival, impossible to break up the pack because they were squabbling far too much to let anybody get away. And we saw so many lead changes, couldn't possibly tell you how many. It was too many to count, and it's certainly whet our appetite for this final race of the weekend.
Yeah, what's incredible is that we are potentially looking at a potential 10th different race winner in this season. Obviously, Charlie Wirtz made it 9 different race winners this campaign, which is extraordinary. And certainly just goes to show how competitive this chassis really is in amongst, of course, racing here in the junior categories as they all look to plumb for seats higher up the ladder. Of course, the Euroformula providing the perfect litmus test, as we've seen from the likes of Ollie Goethe, not to mention Christian Mansell, Alejandro Garcia, who along with his Formula 3 campaign is now leading the championship in the ELMS series at this stage. And then, of course, harking back to what I was saying in terms of Felipe Drugovich and also Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, names that we have heard that have competed, have become runners-up, or either won championships here with us at the Euroformula Open. And a series that has cast its net all the way back in the older ages, where we have seen it back in 2006 when the GT Open came to fruition, as well as the GT Cup Open later on as well. And it's provided many drivers certainly a foundation in order to build their careers. And we've seen the likes of Nicolo Schiro, Alex Fontana, as well. Those names have featured in the International GT Open and GT Cup Open. Leonardo Polcini eventually becoming an International GT Open champion as well. So there is certainly various trails these drivers can take after this series. Certainly they're all chasing the dream of Formula One, and without any shadow of a doubt, this series has proven to deliver that spectacle to many drivers that have competed in this series.
It certainly has. I mean, the list goes on of how many drivers have made their way to Formula One, and not just Formula One, of course. Alex Palou, 2-time IndyCar champion now as well. Plenty of drivers also making their way into the World Endurance Championship. My mind harkens back to Yifei Ye, the 2020 champion, now a Porsche driver and driving the LMDH car with Jota as well. The list goes on, and plenty of other drivers still making their way up through the single-seater ladder as well. Lots of promising young talent, and there is yet more of that talent in this field here. They are going to get set for racing in just a few moments' time as Francesco Simonazzi lines his car up on the pole position slot for BVM Racing. Always easy to spot with his black, white, and sort of lime yellow livery as well. Bryce Aaron lines up behind him. He's the white wing-tipped car. And Kean Shields alongside Simonazzi on the front row of the grid. The bright yellow helmet you'll be able to spot there as we get ready for the third and final race of the weekend in Euroformula Open. It's lights out at Monza, and Simonazzi immediately darts off to the right-hand side to try and cover off Kean Shields, who will be hoovering up that slipstream on the run up towards the first corner. Bryce Aaron is kind of locking him in here, and Bryce Aaron going for the lead now. He's outbraked Simonazzi and goes round the outside, and the American takes the lead in the early stages. Simonazzi falls down to second place.
Yeah, moving up from third to first. Bryce Aaron with a really good start, and now has gone ahead of Francesco Simonazzi, who is hunting his rear wing. Charlie Wirtz under a distinct pressure, but look at Simonazzi already from the get-go chasing down Bryce Aaron in towards the Roger chicane. They remain side by side, heading in towards turns 4 and 5. Simonazzi responds immediately and retakes P1.
Oh no, he got a bad exit there, and Bryce Aaron comes straight back at the Italian, and the lead changes hands once again, going into the Lesmos. And in third place there, I think it's Josh Dufek who has been able to capitalize on that and get past Kean Shields. Indeed, it is the rookie driver there who has made his way up into the podium place. He's been coming under big pressure still from Kean Shields and Charlie Wirtz behind him as well. Noel Leon doesn't look like he's made too much forward progress. He's still in 6th place from what I can see. Pulling out of the slipstream now is Josh Dufek up the inside of Simonazzi, and he takes 2nd place away from the Italian.
Fantastic move from Dufek, and necessary as well. They're skipping through the Ascari chicane for the first time, but still at the front. It's Bryce Aaron responding after Simonazzi sent it through the Roger. He managed to recover it and take the lead again, heading in towards Lesmo 1. Simonazzi could be on the cusp of losing out again, because enter car 73 belonging to Kean Shields, the Flying Scotsman, is looking to now march a charge on the Italian stallion as they make their way down the straight here at the Temple of Speed. Noel Leon as well, getting himself right in behind Charlie Wirtz, as now we see the 73 now make its way around the outside. outside. Kian Shields now on a charge. Also on a charge as well is Noel Leone. Charlie Verts also in amongst all this as they all start to swap around for positions. Levente Ravesh with the best seat in the house as they peel on through. And Simonazzi losing out in an abundance here as Charlie Verts gets his nose ahead.
Yeah, I think it was Noel Leone who ended up going very, very wide there. So at the end of the first lap, Bryce Aaron's advantage is only 0.6 of a second. Simonazzi looking to regain some ground here on Charlie Verts, heading towards the Della Roggia chicane for the second time. And yeah, looking up the inside here, but Verts has got that one covered, getting very close behind them. And I think that is Noel Leone getting still very close with Levente Ravesh there. Ravesh trying to get up on the inside there, but Noel Leone getting super aggressive, trying to hang on to that spot.
Yeah, it certainly is. They're tying up here, and we're now seeing, in fact, Ravesh is
the other way
ahead now, and Noel Leone is at the tail of the field after losing out, heading out to the Roggia chicane. So Ravesh gambled, managed to get himself ahead of Noel Leone, the Mexican, losing out here at this point. Bryce Aaron now still out in front as they enter Ascari. He is going to be joined by Joshua Dufek. In behind them, we do have, of course, Kian Shields making up third place with Charlie Verts after the boost of confidence that no doubt he would have received after taking the victory in race 2 earlier on. The cars now are starting to break away from the slipstream, and Bryce Aaron is starting to be asked questions of, as in comes now Josh Dufek, who isn't scared to make the big moves. Remember, it was his switchback earlier on that caused the devastation heading into the Roggia, and where, of course, we saw 2 retirements make their way through the race. Kian Shields, of course, also suffering with a broken front wing as a result of that moment, as we're now seeing them make their way down the straight once again. There you can see still Charlie Verts getting right in the rear. Bryce Aaron under a distinct attack here as well. Simonazzi swapping all over the rear of Charlie Verts, attempts to make it a 3 wide as they enter towards turn 1. Outside line again for Verts. He's going to dial it in. He's going to make the move. He's up to third place. It's Charlie Verts ahead of Kian Shields.
Charlie Verts is the master of that outside turn 1 move. He did it twice to Kian Shields in this morning's race, but Kian Shields not taking that line down, trying to come back at the Austrian racer down towards the Della Roggia chicane. He'll be on the outside line by the looks of it, heading in there. Simonazzi trying to take full advantage of that as well, but Charlie Verts able to break firm and clear and hold on to the spot for now. And actually, I think Simonazzi trying to get in on that as well. A big lunge up the inside here into Lesmo 1, but no way through on Shields.
No, he had a real strong look through Lesmo 1, just could not quite pick his spot. Lesmo 2 opens up as they now send it down the Seraglio straights. Simonazzi be dialing in. Noel Leone right on the hunt as well. He's not far behind and starting to try and gain himself back after dueling it out then with Levente Ravesh earlier on. Bryce Aaron, and is also currently still leading with Josh Dufek hunting him down all the time, heading through now, skipping over the curbs through Ascari. Charlie Verts there as well in third place after making that really tremendous overtake where it was needed on Kian Shields earlier on. Getting dragged over to the outside now is Josh Dufek as we now see them come together again, and this time Simonazzi on a charge against Kian Shields in towards the final corner here with 14 laps to go, and the Italian now marches through and jumps ahead of Kian Shields for fourth place, a necessary overtake that he needed, and enter as well Noel Leone and Levente Ravesh, who are looking to pounce on the stricken Kian Shields.
And Noel Leone trying to take full advantage of that as well. He has since usurped Ravesh as well, looking for every which way he can past the Scotsman here. But he's coming back at Simonazzi down the inside into the first corner. All this squabbling is allowing the top 3 to get away. Noel Leone will want to pounce on both of these cars as quick as humanly possible, because the gap is starting to build here between Aaron, Dufek, Verts and the rest of the field.
He had a good look on the outside of Francesco Simonazzi now coming through Curva Grande. They come and do battle yet again, and Leon has a chance, but take a look at this. We've got a battle for the lead now starting to brew further up as they come together. Still the 69 of Bryce Aaron now under pressure as now Josh Dufek now takes the lead of the race. Outside line now as they make their way through Lesmo 1. Dufek consolidating the lead position, and now he'll take them through Lesmo 2 with Bryce Aaron now in behind and Charlie Verts closing them down.
And once Dufek had the lead this morning, he did prove quite difficult to pass despite all the slipstreaming. or at least to stay ahead of as well. But it was more Kian Shields and Charlie Wirtz that he was battling with. Slight unknown territory here with Bryce Aaron, but it might get a bit more familiar if Charlie Wirtz can get up the inside here into Ascari. He cannot, and the American Bryce Aaron hangs on to second place for now, and that just brings the chasing pack in a little bit closer as Dufek leads them down the back straight now, trying to break the toe, moving across to the inside, and Charlie Wirtz once again draws, well, nearly an overlap there, but no way through on Bryce Aaron on that occasion. And look at the ground he ended up losing in Parabolica as a result of that as well. He's got to be careful because I'm sure Kian Shields will fancy getting back into a podium spot as well if he gives him even a sniff of a chance, and he's bringing Noel Leon with him as well. Suddenly Charlie Wirtz, this morning's race winner, is under big pressure here from Kian Shields, who we spent so much of this morning's race going wheel to wheel with. They're going wheel to wheel again into the first corner, and again Charlie Wirtz just able to hang on through the first corner. Noel Leon now trying to take advantage of that, with Kian Shields getting a poor exit out of the Rettifilio chicane, and Leon will fancy the inside line for Della Roggia as well. Heading there towards the braking zone now, and look at this, a big lunge here from Bryce Aaron trying to get up on the inside of Dufek. They're side by side on the exit of the chicane. Dufek will have the line into the Lesmo, and Charlie Wirtz trying to get on that as well. Charlie Wirtz with an opportunistic move, and Bryce Aaron just about avoids kicking up the gravel. A big moment there for the American, and he might get swallowed up by the pack now.
Fantastic move there from Charlie Wirtz, who manages to move his way into second place, and now as a result Bryce Aaron lofted further back with Josh Dufek now an enter as well. Noel Leon, who's going to come in and try and scrap for a P3 place into Ascari. Noel Leon, the championship leader, now on a podium position once again, and obviously now looking to contest with the two front runners in a bid to try and obtain more points towards his championship charge. Up at the sharp end, it is still Dufek with Wirtz hanging on in behind. He might choose to cut inwards as we now see Kian Shields now looking to do battle once again, this time with Bryce Aaron. They exit out of Curva Alboreto. Once again, 12 laps to go. It'll soon be 11 as now we see Dufek streak down the straight. Charlie Wirtz right in his slipstream. Also Francesco Simonazzi right in amongst it here. Noel Leon though has got to be a factor to watch, though we now see the battle unfurl as Dufek comes under pressure. Wirtz trying that outside line again through turn one, can't quite do it, has to wait in second place as they all start to string out in behind.
Yeah, I'll have another opportunity here going towards the Della Roggia. This has all the hallmarks of this morning's race, and it ended in tears for quite a few drivers, so they've got to be careful here as Dufek's going to have to get his elbows out surely to keep Charlie Wirtz at bay, because he's got a mega run here going towards the Della Roggia chicane, and right around the outside squeezing Dufek up onto the curve, and now Noel Leon taking full advantage of that as well, because Dufek was slow off the corner. He's going to be forced a long way round at Lesmo 1. A sensational move once again from the Mexican. He now finds himself in second place and staring at the back of Charlie Wirtz for the lead.
He certainly is. Charlie Wirtz though with a stellar overtake of his own. He really does like tackling them through the Roggia chicane. Pulled it off again in an abundance. Levente Ravesh also trying to get himself into a fight. Francesco Simonazzi remaining in fourth, but this time it looks like it's going to be Kian Shields who's going to look to have his number as well. No, incidentally, no, it's Bryce Aaron, incidentally, folks. Fourth place for Kian Shields. Simonazzi in fifth as they exit out of Ascari. There is Levente Ravesh. Still Charlie Wirtz out in front. He's taking a near sideline now, which he'll break away then into the outside, but not before Noel Leon does, as he looks for the lead here. And the Mexican takes the lead of the race. Back in front here is Noel Leon, the magnificent Mexican. The championship leader is alive and kicking here at Monza and bidding to become a two-time race winner this weekend. Well, that hasn't been done since Lucas Stenner back in 2020.
And Kian Shields took third place back as well into Parabolica, now trying to challenge for second on Wirtz. I'm almost convinced that Wirtz let him go so he could have the toe and do this maneuver here. Very, very close to contact though as they came through the chicane, but Charlie Wirtz back on top again, and Noel Leon is not going to have it all his own way. Side by side for third once again between Dufek and Shields and Simonazzi. Look at Noel Leon almost on the grass here towards the Della Roggia chicane. There was contact there as well. It's got shades of Vettel and Alonso all those years ago, and going into the chicane they just about survive.
Very, very, very stiff. Heading down the inside, Noel Leon was very nearly urged onto the grass. He barely touched it.
Again.
Oh, goodness me. That was a huge crash. Couldn't quite see which one that was.
Oh, it's Charlie Wirtz.
Charlie Wirtz, the suspension damage was clear, heading into Lesmo 1, and unfortunately losing the steering. He was sent straight into the tyre barrier as the cars now wind their way down the Seraglio straight. The safety car has been deployed. So there we have it, Noel Leon back out in front, but we were under safety car conditions here at Monza.
Not a surprise there at all. That was a hefty whack for Charlie Wirtz. Utter disappointment there after this morning's sensational victory. He is out of this race, and Noel Leon finds himself out in front ahead of Josh Dufek. I mean, everybody was in the lead going into that chicane, and it was, I'm not going to lie, it was pretty hard to see who was actually there, not least because the sun is so low at the moment. It's actually really difficult to see. There's so much glare going on. But it was Charlie Wirtz who ended up in the tyre barriers. And let's see, it was... which car was in contact with? So that's Kean Shields. I thought it was 5 on the inside. So Kean Shields is the one we saw fly into the barrier.
No, it's
no, Kean Shields has ended up in the barrier. He was on the outside. Charlie Wirtz is out of this race as well. So we've lost 2 cars in all of that.
Goodness me, a major moment. And we've got confirmation the drivers of both cars are okay, which is great to know, because all we saw was Charlie Wirtz going off at the time, which is hence why we thought it was him, if I'm honest, just him going into the barriers, until we saw Kean Shields as well has actually lost it heading through the Lesmo 1 and 2 when reviewing the replay. So we have got quite a glare coming into the commentary box, given the low sun that is pointed right at us. So we're barely seeing it, but looking on our screens here as the safety car makes its way down towards the Roger, it's Noel Leon who leads the way. Josh Dufek in second, Simonazzi in third place, Levente Ravesh now up to fourth, with Bryce Aaron now in fifth, as the marshals now go to work in order to clear the debris. Yeah,
so this is where Kean Shields ended up. He was on the outside, so he was the one that we saw the suspension sort of pop.
Yeah.
So second retirement of the weekend for Kean Shields. He's had a very difficult weekend, even in the first race of the weekend as well. He was struggling with a broken front wing, which he damaged on a sausage curb during the safety car period as well. But there's a replay, Kean Shields getting out of the car, and we had confirmation on our timing screen that both drivers are okay, which is, of course, the most important news of all. And so, once again, we said it had the hallmarks of this morning's race, which ended in tears for a few, and it's ended in tears again for Kean Shields for the first time for Charlie Wirtz. And that has left us with Noel Leon, Josh Dufek, Francesco Simonazzi, Levente Ravesh, and Bryce Aaron as our remaining runners in that order. And still another 8 laps to settle this one once we complete this lap. But it doesn't look like the safety car will be coming in on this one.
Yeah, Josh Dufek with a great chance of claiming his first win of the season here as well. 4.5 tenths behind Noel Leon at this point. Of course, different story for Noel, who has, of course, already won plenty of races throughout the course of this season. He won 1 at Portimao, took his 2nd at Spa-Francorchamps, took his 3rd at Hungaroring. He then followed it up with his, he followed it up with his 4th and 5th then at the Red Bull Ring in his most successful weekend to date, where he would take 2 race wins in race 1 and race 2 and follow it up with a P2 then in race 3. And even he would agree that his performance in race 2 definitely stood out as one of the greatest ones he has definitely driven in his racing career, certainly this season in the Euroformula Open Championship. And at the same time, through that race, picking up the fastest lap and the most overtakes. So he got the bonus points for that as well, which has certainly gone a long way to him winning, or certainly going towards his charge in an attempt to win the championship. We have, of course, got 2 more rounds in the Euroformula Open after this one. We're going to be taking a trip to Mugello in just about a week's time. And then in 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to be heading to Barcelona for the grand finale of the championship, where surely the champion will be crowned. It could be crowned at Mugello with Noel Leon with a hefty points advantage. And should he win this race, that'll only strengthen his hold even further.
Certainly would. I mean, Noel Leon's just been the class of the field all season long. And even, the driver he was at the beginning of the season, very different to the driver he is now. But we just see more and more of these insane sensational performances. Safety car in this lap, by the way, so we're going to get going again, and we'll have 7 laps, hopefully, of green flag running to go towards the end. But yeah, no, Leon, I mean, that race in Red Bull Ring, for example, it wasn't just a case of coming up from 6th to first. It was the execution of it. The fact that he spent actually quite a significant portion of the race looking at the back of Josh Dufek, who was able to hold him off longer than anybody else has all season long as well, and then going on to do what he did and take the win in fairly sensational style. It was Kean Shields who denied him that perfect weekend at Red Bull Ring, because Noel Leon was fastest in both practice sessions, pole position and victory in the first 2 races, as you mentioned there, George. And Kean Shields was the one who denied him being top in every session of that weekend. Kean Shields will do no such thing here today, because he's out of the race after that contact with Charlie Wirtz at the first Lesmo. That's why we're under safety car conditions. And we will go green at the end of this one for 7 laps to determine the victor of race 3 in round 6 of the Euroformula Open Championship in 2023. Noel Leon leads Josh Dufek, who, if it stays like this, would claim his 3rd consecutive, or 4th consecutive even, 2nd place finish, which is great on the face of it, but I'm sure he'd love to improve on that. Noel Leon starting to let the safety car go ahead. The lights are off on top of the safety car, and the young Mexican, looking to claim his 3rd single-seater title in his career, will lead them away. A late little weave there, start warming up the tyres. Josh Dufek and Simonazzi not taking the option to do so as well, nor is Lavesh or Bryce Aaron. Noel Leon was able to do a pretty good restart during the safety car conditions in the rain in yesterday's race. How will he fare in the dry on this restart? Of course, the advantage of being able to see where you were going in those conditions, not so much a problem here, even if the sun is getting a bit low now and certainly blinding us in the commentary box, and hopefully they've got dark enough visors on their helmets for this, as Noel Leon now puts his foot to the floor. We are green once again at Monza for the 3rd and final race of the weekend. Simonazzi looks like he's pouncing for 2nd place already. He's pulled out of the slipstream and drawn alongside, but here comes Levente Ravesh as well on the inside. Simonazzi already into 2nd place. Ravesh looks like he's got 3rd place sorted. No, getting up the inside of Simonazzi as well. 2 places in 1 corner.
Fantastic move indeed to get us back underway, heading through now towards the Curva Grande. They will round it now in tandem, nose to tail. Simonazzi now down in 4th, as now he looks to try and nurture a place back. He's going to look round the outside as they make their way down towards the Roger chicane now. Levente Ravesh, who has managed to obviously club for an improved position here at this point. They make their way into the Roger again, and Simonazzi in all the tussling, losing out big time, because Bryce Aaron has now moved his way up into 4th place. Simonazzi now relegated, but he's going to have the inside line heading through Lesmo 1, but this time Bryce Aaron doing enough to make a big bold claim for that 4th place. Simonazzi can only wait in behind. Stellar move from Aaron.
Well, Simonazzi went towards the first corner in 2nd place. A couple of corners later, he's down in 5th. That's how quickly it can change in what has been some very frantic action for the Euroformula Championship this weekend. These cars just producing some absolutely sensational racing, thanks to, well, A, a decent amount of downforce, and B, very light cars as well, as Bryce Aaron still able to repel the advances of Simonazzi here, and Noel Leon looking to streak clear. That is one of the biggest gaps we've seen all race long, and it says here turns 5 and 6 will remain yellow until the end of the race. Presumably that is because there is some barrier damage remaining there, and so that will stay yellow for the rest of the race. So no overtaking into the Lesmos. Otherwise, we will have a fairly lengthy delay there, as Dufek now tries to retake 2nd place here from Levente Ravesh. Towards the inside at the first corner we go, and Dufek, the Swiss racer's got him back again. Simonazzi and Bryce Aaron goes side by side once again, and Simonazzi takes that place back as well.
Yeah, no overtaking into the turn 5 section of the Rogier either. They've got a yellow point on the track map for that section too, so that is going to be obviously a big pressure for the drivers to make sure they get the moves done prior to that positioning on the circuit, as now we're seeing them come together again. Levente Ravesh now in third as Simonazzi goes in deep on Bryce Aaron, heading through Rogier. Aaron doing enough, though, to hold claim to that fourth place on the escape, though. Simonazzi's going to come straight back at it, but surely the yellows now, as you can see on the LED boards on the side of the circuit, making sure that the drivers are aware that there's no overtaking heading through towards turn 6.
Yeah, as soon as he entered the green flag zone, though, he was looking back up the inside. You can see those LED panel boards from about 2 kilometers away, so there was no way Simonazzi was going to miss it there as he gets back into the slipstream once again, heading down towards the Scari. Big gap started to form here between the top 3, and that battle for fourth place between Bryce Aaron and Francesco Simonazzi. So at the moment, Levente Ravesh could be making it 2 podiums in as many races here. As how's that gap going out at front? Josh Dufek just starting to eke into that lead a little bit. It's come down 2/10 since the last time they went through the second sector timing beam. Josh Dufek just started to close in a little bit here on our championship leader, Noel Leon, making good use of the slipstream, of course, as well, which he'll be taking full advantage of to hone in on the back of the 2-time F4 champions car.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. And heading down now in towards turn 1. Fastest lap for Joshua Dufek as Simonazzi now starts to squirrel all over the back of Bryce Aaron. In towards turn 1 they go as we see them rise together now. Dufek off the back of that fastest lap, looking to cruise up onto the back of Noel Leon, utilise all that pace that he has delivered certainly on that previous lap. But this time now Simonazzi haunting the rear wing of Bryce Aaron continuously here as they round the Curva Grande. Once again they will have yellow flags heading in towards turn 5, so they've got to be cautious. Simonazzi though prepared to make the move earlier than that, makes his way in towards turn 5 now. He's going to muster it inwards now out of the Rogier and certainly take that fourth place back again from Bryce Aaron as they now enter Lesmo 1 and 2.
Yeah, but that's for the yellow flag zone is towards Lesmo 1. So no racing through there. And look at this, Josh Dufek's bringing that gap down. Yet still, it was only 0.2 of a second as they headed towards the De La Rogier chicane. It's a bit bigger than that now, but Josh Dufek keeping this race interesting for Noel Leon here with 4 laps remaining at the end of this one. And they go across the stripe. Levente Ravesh doing his best to hang on to this lead battle here. I'm sure if they start squabbling, he will be right in the mix as well, but he is currently 1.1 seconds behind the Swiss in front of him.
Just a quick note to say that the yellow flag will remain permanent for turns 5 and 6 right through to the end of the race. Obviously, significant damage to those barriers.
4 laps to go then, and Josh Dufek is hunting down the young Mexican Noel Leon. These 2 drivers both having come over from the Formula Regional Championship. The main difference is Noel Leon's been here all season long. Josh Dufek's only been here for 2 rounds, but Dufek here fancies his first win in the championship, side by side towards the Retifilia chicane we go. Very close indeed, and Dufek comes out on top on the exit of the corner, but lights up those rear Pirellis as he gets towards the Curva Grande, and Noel Leon wants that place back straight away. Getting into the slipstream now, but Dufek's got this one covered towards the De La Rogier, so Noel Leon is going to have to go the long way round. And don't forget, the yellow flag zone is approaching here. Not quite turn 4, but as they go through this right-hander, they will enter the yellow flag zone. So any move he makes has got to get done before then.
It certainly does, or afterwards, heading through Lesmo 2 down Serralio straight. Josh Dufek, though, will be looking to consolidate this place. This could be his first race win in the Euroformula Open Championship. He could yet become winner number 10 this season as well. Noel Leon, in his own right, has already crowned victory. 5 occasions coming into the weekend. He is now up to 6 and looking to chase for a 7th and a double for the first time since 2020. Have we seen that? Remember Lucas Dunner performing that in race 2 and race 1 and 2, or 2 and 3 I should say, in the year of 2020, as they make their way down the stretch now towards Cobra Alboreto. Still at the front end, it is Joshua Dufek. Noel Leon haunting the rear wing on his motorpark compadre as they now enter the final corner on this lap with 4 to go, soon to be 3, and they'll venture down the long straight in towards the Retifilia, where we've seen countless drivers, countless cars, Charlie Wirtz being one of them, unfortunately out of the race, who managed to sweep round the outside on considerable occasions, as now Dufek looks to stretch the advantage. Down towards turn 1 they go. Noel Leon breaking into the slipstream, again moving to the inside now this time Dufek. That opens the door here for No Leon, who looks to the outside still, but Dufek able to close off the gap. There was a reasonable gap coming out of the Alboreto corner. He did enough as they enter the Curva Grande.
And this is what we were talking about this morning, George. At this point in the race, you've got to start picking your moments, because I don't think you want to be leading going on to the last lap. If it stays like this, the slipstream is just too powerful, and you could well find yourself in a bit of a fix by the end of the race. At the moment, No Leon not able to draw alongside Josh Dufek here quite as confidently. Certainly going towards the first corner, he wasn't able to. We'll see what happens when they get out of Lesmo 2 in a few seconds' time, whether he can stick to the back of Dufek's car and maybe have a run at him on the straight after Ascari as well. No Leon might just be picking his moments here. I'm sure he will have watched the footage from this morning's race that he didn't finish, unfortunately, after he was made contact with Bryce Aaron at the first chicane. And both cars coming off pretty sorrowfully as well. But for Ascari, we go once again.
Certainly do. Heading down the straight now, skipping over those curbs still. Incidentally, it would be 9 different race winners if Dufek does take this one, of course, as they now hurtle down towards the final corner. And still Dufek with No Leon a lot closer than where he was before on the previous lap. They'll venture through Curva Alboreto yet again, and then very soon they'll cross the line to commence 2 final laps of the race. This, of course, this next one, the penultimate lap of this race here at Monza, and the last one of the Italian race weekend here at the Euroformula Open Championship. Simonazzi still remains in 4th and has broken away from Bryce Aaron. Leventi Ravesh still holding on to 3rd as well, but bringing himself into this front-end scrap as he now gets closer and closer to the back of No Leon. Fastest lap this time, though, for the hometown hero, Francesco Simonazzi, the Italian stallion, looking to bring something late here. The last minute now, the last gasps of the race. Penultimate lap now lighting up here as No Leon consolidates second, stays in behind, looks to open things up, though, heading down towards turn 4. Can he achieve it? Not quite. It's still Josh Dufek holding his own here.
Yeah, I have a feeling No Leon is waiting for his opportunity here, because look how much the pack is bunching up. 2.6 seconds covered the top 5 as they went over the timing line to start this penultimate lap of the race. Still Josh Dufek, the Swiss racer, is leading this one ahead of No Leon, the championship leader, the man who is the form man going throughout this entire season. And going towards Ascari for the penultimate time. I dare say No Leon is just waiting for his opportunity to strike on the last lap, which we will soon be approaching.
We certainly will be. Ascari once again lights up with the Dallara 320 chassis, the BVM of Francesco Simonazzi, of course, in a section that he loves so much. We saw him, of course, utilising the wet weather conditions to his advantage, coming through that significant sector. Of course, one of the fastest corners you'll see here on this track as Simonazzi sends it down the inside. A look here on Leventi Ravesh trying to catch him unawares. Didn't fall for it though, Ravesh, the Hungarian, doing enough to hold on to 3rd place. As now we take a look up at the front end, and they'll begin the final lap here, heading down the main straight here at Monza. Simonazzi now on the tail of Leventi Ravesh as they now bustle down towards turn 1. Entering now the wheel-to-wheel scrap between Josh Dufek and No Leon, who is looking to try and take the lead of the race and take victory for a second time this race weekend. Simonazzi still can't break Leventi Ravesh, who defends magnificently as they head through Curva Grande.
Yeah, No Leon did his best there to get round at the first corner, but Dufek wouldn't allow it, and now Dufek covering up the inside again towards the Della Roggia chicane. Last corner here, No Leon's got him, he's out-tracked him. By the time they get down to the Della Roggia chicane, Dufek trying to come back around the outside, the long way round, and has he come out on top? We can't quite tell. Now, if he made that move at turn 5, depending on where the yellow flags are, it might be okay, but which car has come out on top? It is Dufek. Dufek still leads, so he got that move done on the inside, the right-hand side of the chicane. No Leon might have to make this a last corner dive. It could be a drag to the finish line. Ravesh could still get involved in this. So could Simonazzi. So could Bryce Aaron. So we've only got a few corners to go. The podium is far from settled, though. As look at that, No Leon trying to distract Dufek as they go towards Ascari. We are soon approaching the final braking zone of this race, and No Leon, the young Mexican, is sat in 2nd place, hoovering up the slipstream of Josh Dufek now. Going towards the final corner, Dufek, what's he going to do with this? Moves late to cover the inside. No Leon to the outside. Can he get ahead of him? No, he can't. Dufek's got it sorted. But what's the run like for Noel Leon? He's got a tighter line. They're going to go side by side across the line. But I think Josh Dufek might just have this one covered. Side by side as they meet the checkered flag. And it is just Joshua Dufek for the first time in the Euroformula Open Championship by 46 thousandths of a second.
He becomes the 9th different winner this season in the Euroformula Open Championship, beating back Noel Leon, who will not make it a double win weekend for himself. Lucas Dunner will remain the last driver to achieve 2 race wins, more than 1 race win over a weekend. Back in 2020, he achieved that. Levente Ravesh, who was also trying to fend off the approaches from Francesco Simonazzi right at the start-finish line. There's the replay. They came across together. 46 thousandths the difference between Noel Leon and Joshua Dufek as they cross the line. Minimal gaps, and take a look at that as well between them and Simonazzi and Ravesh.
83 thousandths covered the 3 cars behind them
Minimal.
as well. There was only less than a single second covered the entire field as they went across the line. That is sensational. For the first time, it is Josh Dufek in the Euroformula Open Championship, victorious ahead of championship leader Noel Leon. Levente Ravesh second, or third for the second time this weekend, sorry. Francesco Simonazzi and Bryce Aaron completing the field. What a race. What it's done is put Noel Leon 63 points clear in the championship now, ahead of Bryce Aaron, who retakes third. Ahead of Francesco Simonazzi, Josh Dufek moves up to 7th on 98 points with his maiden victory. I mean, George, I'm out of breath. I can't believe that race.
It was a stunning effort, and credit as well to Noel Leon. He really gave it everything. Joshua Dufek defended absolutely amicably, and giving him extra credit. Obviously, only his 2nd weekend in the car, and after debuting back at Red Bull Ring alongside that of Charlie Wirtz. We'll take another look at the Drivers' Championship.
Amended championship standings here. So it's 85 points, the gap between Noel Leon and Kian Shields. Francesco Simonazzi still holds on to 3rd place. Josh Dufek in 7th.
Yeah, Noel Leon still retains the championship lead, 85 points now, the gap between himself and Kian Shields, and that will take us into Barcelona. Francesco Simonazzi, however, bringing himself up to P3 in the championship. He's not out of the question, but the way it's all stacked, but we still have Mugello, should I say, in between now and Barcelona. So a great chance for Noel Leon to capture the attention here and potentially capture the crown as well. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. Still a lot that can happen in between now and then. As into P1 comes Joshua Dufek, who no doubt will be pleased. Obviously, he had the joy of commentating on this young man, certainly in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, where he raced for the Van Amersfoort team, and now marking his debut weekends at Red Bull Ring. Obviously, with promising performances, coming here this weekend to make a claim to his first victory this campaign and go on record as our 9th different winner this season. It truly was stellar. Noel Leon, I'm sure, will be pleased with his efforts that he managed to bring to the table. And I've got to give credit as well, once again, Levente Ravesh, yet another P3 on the cards. And Kai congratulating Joshua Dufek on his grand efforts. And no hard feelings from Noel Leon. That was a straight fight to the start.
I don't think you can be too disappointed in losing a race like that, George. And Josh Dufek here, adding to the series that he is victorious in. Italian F4, of course, was a podium finisher in the Formula Regional Championship last year as well. Exploring Formula Regional in the Middle East as well as Europe this year as well. The Formula 3 Championship that we mentioned at this very track as well a few weeks ago, and we were talking about earlier. And yeah, it makes sense for this to be the Swiss driver's first victory in the championship. The 18-year-old from born in Camden Town, actually, and trilingual as well. He says he speaks English, French, German. He's learning Italian. I dare say his Italian celebration terminology is going to get a little bit better after this one. Here's your top 3 from the 3rd and final race of the weekend. For Team Motorpark, Levente Ravesh, the Hungarian, in his first race weekend in the championship, claims a 2nd podium finish of the weekend. Noel Leon, the championship leader for Team Motorpark, in 2nd place. adding to the victory he scored yesterday. But for the first time for Crypto Tower Racing, it's Joshua Dufek in only his second weekend in the championship.
Josh, your maiden win in the Euroformula, very well deserved.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was such an intense race. So much happened, and yeah, in between the safety car restart, the collision between the two other drivers, and all the battles that went on, there was, yeah, we weren't short of action, that was for sure. So, no, I'm just glad we could come up on top and capitalize on everything.
It has been a great Sunday of racing, and you were on top fighting, so this comes nicely.
Yeah, I think ideally I would have, won the race this morning as well, and the one yesterday too. But I had a few small mistakes from my side, so that kind of cost us those wins. But no, I'm happy with how the weekend went, and yeah, really happy with our progression with this new car as well.
Well done. Podium now.
Thank you.
There's a young man who knows his skills. Let's take a look back at his skills from that very, very exciting race. Remember all those laps ago when Francesco Simonazzi was on pole position ahead of Kian Shields? He was ahead going into the first corner, but it was Bryce Aaron who ended up finishing that race in 5th, who challenged for the lead going into the first corner and took the lead as well with a sensational pass around the outside of the Italian. Noel Leon didn't make too much forward progress in the early stages. We had side-by-side here with Josh Dufek going right around the outside of Bryce Aaron, trying to take the place. And then Bryce Aaron ended up getting fed out a little bit by Charlie Wirtz there going into the Lesmos. Dufek spent more time going side-by-side into this chicane than I think going through it on his own. Kian Shields tried to take advantage of a poor exit here for Charlie Wirtz. The two came together, Kian Shields slamming into the tyre barriers, and Charlie Wirtz not exactly coming off well in that incident either. Both of them were out of the race. Josh Dufek then had to make more passes, this time on Noel Leon, as they battled for the lead that went right down to the wire. They were side by side across the line, a mere 46 thousandths of a second separating them as they met the checkered flag, less than a single second covering the entire field as they went over the line. And Josh Dufek, for the first time, became a race winner in the Euroformula Open Championship as we head now to the podium. So, go on, Josh.
Joshua Dufek, obviously clambering onto that first maiden win is going to mean a lot to him. A huge confidence booster. We've seen what it's done to Charlie Wirtz as well after that display that granted him victory. He's not afraid to make those big moves, but Dufek can celebrate this one. Noel Leon, no doubt, pleased with second. Levente Ravesh back in third. And everyone here in Monza celebrating from the motor park camp. And their representative for the team will stand up too. And no doubt will accept the prize on their behalf, but we will have the national anthem.
I don't remember the last time I heard the Swiss national anthem. It must have been some Sebastian Buemi win, I'm sure.
Not very oftenly heard, to be fair, in the world of motorsport, but great to hear it nonetheless. And Joshua Dufek, of course, who hails from many different backgrounds, he'll be absolutely thrilled nonetheless to hear it played on his behalf. Noel Leon accepting the second place prize. Of course, the points now taking another step further to the championship, which I'm sure Mugello will be a decisive fact into where that championship does go. And certainly Noel Leon, the prominent leader in all of this, and has a great chance of closing it out here.
Noel Leon here has a great opportunity to put a hand on the trophy in Mugello, if not, in fact, wrap it up in its entirety. And the Euroformula Open Championship heads to Mugello in just a week's time. Thoroughly looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. The 30th of September and the 1st of October for the penultimate round of the championship. That's all from Monza. We'll see you in Mugello.
Calmo, si fanno il bagno.